anything goes. Time is key in the journey towards building a billionaire business. Anything good will take time. That is one of the challenge we have in this, particularly in the age where we are. There's this microwave mentality. You want to, you know, we all look at everybody online and say, oh, this one just suddenly don't blow. You know, nobody is an overnight success. This, you know, so there are some nights that would extend into years. And that is why the lesson here is this: if you want to build a multi-billionaire business, if you want to build a billionaire business, you need to clearly understand that, you need to clearly understand that it will take time, and you need to dedicate your time to it. Now, and you need to focus while you are in that time frame. The second lesson, which is the opposite of it, is to understand clearly. I've been told that I just have 15 minutes. We might need to stretch it by 10-12 minutes more. The second part of it is you need to be patient with yourself. You don't want to start today and then expect to have that result that the other person who's been there and maybe you don't know is having immediately. The third lesson from the concept of time is you don't judge yourself too harshly. If you are going to succeed at anything, you are going to actually be messy at the beginning. You are going to suck to, you have to use that word at the beginning. So you need to give yourself the permission, because you know that you become better with time. That is the number 4 note that you need to know. You know, and then I quickly just added that you can collapse time when you understand the concept of leverage and when you understand the concept of partnership. I'm going to talk about it later in the course of this session. What is number 5? Focus and energy will accelerate your journey. We've talked about that gap. We talked about the bridge, about the fact that you need to take action. We've talked about the fact that you need to have knowledge and skill, and so on and so forth. Now, this is what this is quite key. If you're going to build a multi-billion, first of all, very few people would get to that point in life. Now, if you're going to build a multi-billionaire business, you need focus. It means that you want to do one thing well and do it consistently before you can achieve results. You don't want to start one thing today and then you want to jump to the next trend. You want to jump to the next trend, because I see quite a number of people online today. Today, they are talking about Forex. The next day, they are talking about crypto. The next day, they are talking about drop shipping. The next day, they are talking about affiliate marketing. And then they do quite a number of things over time, and then they are not able to actually focus on any. Now, there's no way you will do 10 things and then you'll be able to compete with one person who has, you're doing 10 things in 1 year. There's no way you'll be able to compete with that one person who's doing just one thing over a 10-year period of time. Everybody who's done any level of good work today would have spent some time doing that good work, would have had so much of time that they are losing, that they are being shitty, that their result is terrible, and then after a while, they become better. Go check anybody you see today. They have a story. There is always a story. I said, remember Pareto's principle. At the end of the day, only 20%, your 80% of your results is coming from 20% of what you do. So what I want to ask you today is, what would happen if you only decide to leave the 80% that is yielding just 20% and to focus your entire energy on that 20% that is producing 80% of result? I can guarantee that you multiply your result by 5. So if you want to get better today, you only need to ask yourself, what exactly is producing the result that I want? And then you need to put all your energy into that. Remember, focus. It takes focus for a magnifying glass to actually ignite fire. Number 6, what of note that you need to know, that partnership and leverage will multiply your output. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. If I want to create a multi-billionaire business today, what I need to ask myself is, who has built the infrastructure that I can partner with? That there's this model of telco that is called virtual network. I don't need to have infrastructure. I don't need to have base stations. I only need to create the front end of the telecommunication service. And I go to existing telecommunication company and rent space in the infrastructure that they built. Now, what has been proven over time is when you learn to partner and leverage on existing infrastructure, you can actually multiply your result and reduce your stress or reduce your input and shorten the time. So when you want to actually scale, you want to build a billionaire business, what you should ask, for example, if you're doing real estate, you want to ask, who has built a real estate business that I can leverage on? And that is part of what we're offering you. You decide to join our Realtors network, because what we're doing is we're providing you with billions of naira worth of asset that you can actually leverage on to sell. I tell people that you don't need to move one brick to actually generate billion. You need to ask yourself, for example, at the beginning, Tony, I talked about Greystone. You can make up your mind that I want to sell 4 units of semi-detached in Greystone, and I've crossed $1 billion in terms of my turnover. And then you can see the power of leverage, unlike if you decide to actually build. Number 7, which is the last one here, the attention is everything. Attention is everything. I said everything of value that you have to offer has someone out there willing to pay for it. You just need to find them. And that is the mindset you need to have. There's nothing of value that you offer that is not right, that is not that does not have somebody who needs it. You only need to find them. The challenge with a lot of us is we find it difficult to even believe it, to find that person, or we don't even know how to find that person. I'm going to be rushing now. I said you only need to stand out, take the value route. Now, sometimes in to command attention, people do stuff that might not be right. The value route is the most sustainable. The person that will stand the test of time, that will be consistent, are those who are able to generate value and to offer those value, and then attract people's attention based on the value they have to offer. Those people are the ones that would stand the test of time. In the last several minutes, we've laid the foundation for your journey. These notes are knowledge you need to have. It will be relevant when you step out of this session. What is the step to achieving your goal of building a Billion-Naira business? So let's quickly do that. I said, number 1, you need to actually define what a Billion-Naira is. There's something I'm doing now. I just need you to quickly look at it. Can you see anything? I did a bit of change in my slide. Doesn't seem to be working. So I will just go back to where it was, because the text I overlaid and is intentional. It will show when I'm doing a slide presentation. The first thing in we said you need to define what a billion is. So the question I want to ask you is, what is 1 billion? I said 1 billion is, if you're looking at it from the viewpoint of 1 billion, it's scary. How would I get to 1 billion? One of the people that is, I'm sure the person in this class was asking me that, you guys have come again. How do you expect me to get to 1 billion? That's a lot of money. But the question is, let us define what 1 billion is. I said 1 billion is 1 million in 1,000 places. That's number 1. Or you can say 10 million in 100 places, or you can say 100 million in 10 places, whichever one you want to choose. But so if you are looking to build, to build a Billion-Naira business, if you are looking at 1 billion as a figure, it seems very large. It might be scary. But if you decide that, okay, I want to build a Billion-Naira business, can I get 100 people that would do transaction worth 10 million with me? Does that not make it easier? Does that not make it shorter? Because okay, I'm looking just for 100 people. Or what if you decide to say, look, you know what? I want to look for 10 people that will do transaction worth 100 million with me. Or what if, to make it simpler, can I get 4 people that will buy one house? Each one will buy one house that is worth 250 million. You can see that when you begin to break down 1 billion into the component element, you realize that it's doable. 1 billion might be a bit large, but when you focus on those lesser figures and ask yourself, and it's easy, you can decide, I want to sell 4 buildings, each one valued at 250 million today. And then what happens is this. And the essence of this exercise, to help you to understand that psychologically you want to reduce the magnitude of the size of the target amount. When you begin to do this, when you realize that, for me to get 1 billion, can I get 4 people that will do transaction of 250 million with me? Can I get 10 people that will do transaction of 100 million with me? Can I get 100 people that will do transaction of 10 million with me? What happens is you are changing the dimension of the conversation. You are no longer talking about 1 billion that looks huge and scary. You are talking about the number of people you need to get that will help you to achieve your goal. So what happens is it becomes a practical, action-oriented step that can take you to your destination. But when you look at the size, when you look at 1 billion as a noun, it is not relevant. It cannot galvanize action from you. But when you look at 1 billion from the viewpoint of the component part and as a verb, as an action word, by saying, how can I get 4 people that would buy 1 unit worth 250 from me? You've actually reached 1 billion. So it is the practical dimension of definition that you need to have that will propel you to the next place. So what is done is to convert that 1 billion that looks unachievable to practical action step that can get you the destination, because the question now changes from how do I get 1 billion to how do I get 100 customers? How do I get 10 customers that will do 100 million with me? Or how do I get 4 customers that will do 250 million with me? Then the next big question is, if you already know, I'm going to use the example of the guy who says, you know what I want to do for the rest of this year in 2024 to build a Billion-Naira business is to look for 4 people that will actually do transaction worth 250 million with me. That is what I want to do. So all your thought, everything you're looking for at every point in time, at every point in time is, where is that 4 people that can do the transaction? So you already know you are looking for 4 people. So the next thing you want to ask yourself is, what product can I sell to get to that 1 million? And I'm just going to, to say this, it depends on a lot of things. Your passion, it depends on your personality, it depends on your ability, and it depends on your experience. All these things can be built. There's nothing that you've seen. Let me say something about passion before I quickly run. I'm actually running against time. Something about passion. There's this slang, or there's this saying that follow your passion. But this is what I know. Whether you are passionate or not, you can build up that passion, as long as it's helping you to achieve your goal. The discipline to be passionate about what you have to be passionate about until you get the results you need is what you need to learn. So the product you're going to sell depends on all those things. So let's quickly move on. I said, this is what I would say. I would rather have you pick a product that is high ticket and get you to your finish line faster. So if you can, it's the same. What I've seen in the course of being a salesperson is that it's the same effort that it takes me to sell 10 million that is going to take me to sell 100 million. In fact, sometimes it's actually easier to sell 100 million than to sell 10 million, because the guy that will buy 10 million from me stresses me much more than the guy that will do 100 million. That is what I've seen over time. So when I tell people that you are targeting 1 billion, I would rather have you sell 250 million product, just looking for 4 people for the rest of the year, or say maximum you want to look for 10 people that can do 100 million. But please focus on the 4 if you can. I'm sure that by the time we round up this session, you would understand why I say that. So if you're deciding what product do I sell, if I want to hit 1 billion, I said you can decide, can I sell 4 units of the duplex at 200 million or 250 million rather, or can I sell 20 units of the car at 50 million, or 1,000 item at 1 million each? I would rather pick the first one. It's easier for me to get 4 people that will buy it. So what is the challenge? Why is it that we know that 1 billion is just 250 million in 4 places? We know that their product you can sell, sell 4 units of it that will give us the 1 billion. So what exactly is now the challenge? The challenge is your psychology, because you keep asking yourself the question, how would I get someone that can pay me 250 million or even 50 million? Everybody in this room, if I tell you today that you need to sell 250 million worth of asset, the first question you're going to ask me, and I'm sure the first question you're asking yourself today is, how would I get somebody where I'm coming from this village, I don't even know somebody that has 25 million, talk less of 250 million. And that is the psychology that affects us, that affects our results most of the time. So the challenge is your psychology. It's not that goal is not available. Now, so that is the question you said, how would I get? That's the question you ask yourself. The answer to that is, where do you think everyone on planet exists today? Where do you think they exist today? Because when you're asking, where do I get the person? The next question is, where do you think everybody is? Everybody that you see today that is in the age range that you want to sell to are on one social media platform or the other. They will go to one way or the other. They will search for their flight. If they want to buy anything, they will go online to check. Everybody on this planet, well, let me not say everybody, but the bulk of the people that you need to get the 4, the 10, the 100 you need to sell exist on digital platforms, on digital media. So when you ask this question, it becomes a question of acquiring the skill. And this session is the beginning of the journey. I've answered your question. I said everybody exists on digital media platforms. So that is where you will find them. So you can no longer say that, where do I find them? Because I provided you the answer. If you are not restricted to searching in your village or within your circle of friends. You can actually reach out to the bigger world. And that is the question. So now it's no longer a question of where, it's a question of what skill do you need to be able to do that.